everyone, I'm Georgia and this is The Sound of Georgia. Today I'm going to try and answer a very serious question. Do I hate the Princess Diaries? A few weeks ago I made a video where I tried to work out what Julie's most iconic roles were, especially nowadays. And one of the roles that made that list was her character from the Princess Diaries, Queen Clarice Rinaldi of Zenobia. And yes, it is undoubtedly one of her most iconic roles. However, it's far from the best. And this is probably the start of why I don't like the Princess Diaries as much as everybody else my age does. There were 3 separate instances during my 3 years at uni where people found out that I had met Julie and they always came back with, "I love the Princess Diaries. You must really like the Princess Diaries. You've met the Queen of Zenobia." And all that stuff. And it honestly makes me a little sad that people have grown up with her as the Queen of Zenobia rather than Mary Poppins or Maria. One of those 3 people admitted to me that she had never seen The Sound of Music. And she is not the first person my age who has admitted that to me. I imagine there's a lot more that I know who haven't seen it. So uni did actually give me a new hatred for the Princess Diaries. The last time I watched it, which was May last year, so May 2017, it was honestly a slog to get through. And that doesn't happen with Julie movies with me, except maybe Hawaii. But that's because it's 3 hours long and not my type of movie at all. If Julie hadn't been in it, I would have turned it off 10 minutes in. So yes, in a way I blame those 3 instances as... And if you can believe it, I didn't turn into a die-hard Julie fangirl until after I'd met her. Before I'd met her, Princess Diaries probably was one of the movies I associated with her the most. But after I met her, I watched more and more of her movies and found more and more of them to be better than Princess Diaries. And then I went to uni. That's why I don't like the Princess Diaries, because I know I did not dislike it that much before I went to uni. But putting all that aside, let's look at the movie as a whole. Honestly, it's not very good. It's nothing terrible, but it's nothing great either. It's certainly not Mary Poppins or Sound of Music. Julie's performance is great, but Julie's performance is great no matter what the movie is, and as someone who has seen every movie she's ever made, I feel qualified to say that. While Julie's performance is great, it is also limited because of the movie itself, and she has done so many better performances in so many better movies. And yes, I'm not going to lie, I have a tendency to prefer Julie movies where Julie is the leading lady. And for the majority of Julie movies, that's why I watch them, because Julie's in it. I would never have picked up Hawaii or Torn Curtain, or probably not even Thoroughly Modern Millie, had Julie not been in them. And even in movies like Torn Curtain, the Americanization of Emily, or Hawaii, she's definitely not the protagonist. All the males are the protagonists of those movies, but she is the leading lady. But in Princess Diaries, Mia is the protagonist and Julie's a side role. An incredibly big side role, but not a side role in the way she was in the movies I just mentioned. Before I went to uni, I liked Princess Diaries. It wasn't anything super special and I certainly didn't think it was Julie's best performance. And I even thought all of that before I met her and saw every other film she'd ever made. But uni turned it into quite possibly my most despised Julie film. I certainly don't think it's the worst. I'd rather watch it than Hawaii or Duet for One. And as far as I'm concerned, Duet for One is undoubtedly her greatest performance. But then that's just speaking of the last time I watched both of them. If I watch them again, who knows? Duet for One might top Princess Diaries. It won't top Hawaii, I can tell you that much. But Hawaii is a better movie, I can completely acknowledge that. Hawaii is a very well acted, very well put together film. It's just not my type of film at all. It's 3 hours long and incredibly religious, so not my type of thing at all. So now let's talk about Princess Diaries 2 for a minute. In regards to Princess Diaries, I think the sequel is a worse movie than its predecessor. But it makes me less angry. To be fair, I haven't watched it in several years, since before all this uni stuff. But when I think about how uni made me hate the Princess Diaries, that's exactly what I think. how uni made me hate The Princess Diaries. Not how uni made me hate The Princess Diaries 2. So while Princess Diaries 2 is not as good a movie as Princess Diaries, and I'd rather watch Princess Diaries than I'd watch it, in a way it makes me less angry. But putting aside the quality of the movie, the reason uni made me hate it so much is not because it's necessarily a bad film. As I said, it's not anything special, but it's not anything terrible either. But the reason those experiences at uni made me hate Princess Diaries is because it was people my age going on about how much they loved it and how much they were jealous that I met the Queen of Genovia. Now, to be fair, I can't prove that everybody who said that to me hasn't seen Mary Poppins or Sound of Music. That one girl who admitted to me she hasn't seen Sound of Music told me she had seen Mary Poppins. But that's kind of what makes me sad about it. Everyone my age seems to know Julie as Queen Clarice of Genovia. And the sad thing is, it seems to come at the expense of seeing Sound of Music or Mary Poppins. Or at least that's what it feels like to me. And while I love Sound of Music more than life itself and feel like everybody should see it, in a way, I'd be more annoyed if people hadn't seen Mary Poppins. While I don't like Mary Poppins nearly as much, I still do absolutely love it. But because it's a Disney movie, I feel like more people should have seen it. I would guess that more children grew up on Disney movies than they did on, say, 20th Century Fox movies, which is who made Sound of Music. Not that they wouldn't have seen such movies, but it's Disney. Everybody grows up on Disney. And yes, it seems very obvious, if they grew up on Disney, they would have grown up on Princess Diaries. But I also think it works the other way. If they grew up on Princess Diaries, and ergo grew up on Disney, they should at least have grown up with Mary Poppins as well. Now, I'm probably a hypocrite because I am the obvious exception. I didn't see Mary Poppins until I was about 7 or 8, and I saw Sound of Music when I was 2. I might have even seen Princess Diaries before I saw Mary Poppins. But that aside, I feel like Mary Poppins is a Disney movie that children would grow up on, rather than Princess Diaries. I feel like that's the way it should be anyway. So yes, in a way I do hate The Princess Diaries. But it's not because of the movie itself. To me, it feels like everybody my age or younger grew up on that movie and therefore associate Julie with The Princess Diaries, mostly, if not exclusively. And I get upset with people who haven't grown up with Julie the way I did, because I think there's better movies that she made. But I'm probably biased. I mean, I do have a Sound of Music tattoo. Now, I don't expect everybody my age to have seen Torn Curtain or Tamarind Seed or Duet for 1 or 10, but I really don't think Sound of Music or Mary Poppins are too much to ask for. Mostly, I just feel sorry for the people who tell me how wonderful it is that I met the Queen of Genovia or how much they like Princess Diaries. Because even if they have seen movies like Mary Poppins or Sound of Music, they clearly associate Julie more with Princess Diaries. And I feel sorry for them, because I personally think she deserves to be remembered more for movies like Sound of Music and Mary Poppins. Because her performances are so much better, and the movies themselves are so much better. So all in all, it's not the film that makes me hate Princess Diaries. As a film, it is absolutely perfectly fine. As the main thing people my age know Julie for, I absolutely hate it. And I blame uni. So that's everything for today's video. I hope I didn't make any of you Princess Diaries fans too upset, but that's just how I feel. Let me know in the comments how you feel about Princess Diaries, or Mary Poppins, or Sound of Music, or Julie in general, and what you think she should be remembered for. Personally, I think there's a lot more things outside of her film career that she should be remembered for. But as far as film goes, let me know how you feel. Feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my video next week. So long, farewell!